Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are and whenever you are. Um, Today, hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are and whenever you are. Um, Today, I thought I will give you a small demonstration of very simple action, but something that just came to my mind few minutes before, and I thought I'll I'll try and make a demonstration video. A lot of people think when they are doing animation, they should be like moving all the body parts, to make their animation look good. And sometimes animation is not about just moving the entire body. Sometimes it is just you know a very simple, a subtle movement that can tell a story. you know what is the point of doing a fancy animation if you don't have any story in it? So today I thought you know I'll try to do a subtle animation and not try very limited animation, but I'll still try to tell a story through it. So I thought of this character. Again, I'm keeping the characters very simple in order to explain the animation bit of this demonstration. I personally would like to design fancy characters and create their movements. Generally when you do production, you tend to go into a lot of details, but when you are studying animation, you should try and simplify the forms as much as possible. So today I thought of this shot where this guy is sitting in a bar, and he's just having a chilled beer. And then what happens when he tries to do a bottoms up? So these are two frames, two drawings that I thought uh, are the key drawings that can tell a story. So let me just quickly start the demonstration. So this is a frame which I thought I staged this character kind of profile angle, but you can still see his torso slightly 3/4, and he's holding a glass of chilled beer, and he's very happy um, to have this beer, and then he tries to gulp up the entire thing, and then he dozes off. you know so so that's what I thought I will try to animate today. So this is the first drawing where it's very important when you're telling a story to make sure where your character is looking at. So first thing is that uh, you always try and show where the character is looking, because that probably is the most important thing in that scene. So for example, over here this character is looking towards the beer glass, right? So I made sure that his look at is very clear, and and this is the last frame, so he dozes off. So what happens in between these two drawings, that is where the story is. So let me quickly add one more frame which I think is very important, and before that we'll take a 5-minute break to make few arrangements in my setup. Yeah. So yeah, um like I was saying, the story of this guy is he's having a chilled beer, uh, and then he dozes off. So these are the two storytelling drawings that we created, and so in between is the drama that we have to create. So let me first tell you that when you're starting something, when you're starting to animate some shot, you have to kind of try and plan out the at least the basic acting, you know, where to keep uh, the maximum hold, where are these storytelling drawings, the storytelling poses, and also you have to keep yourself inspired, when you are trying to get that get that moment right. And sometimes the actions are very simple, but they're very difficult to execute. So like for example, why I'm keeping these drawings simple is it's much more easier for me to explain. At the same time, it's an exercise that we are doing to understand the acting part of the character. Okay, so the basic inspiration came from this ball, you know, this this ball that I saw, and it's so simple and it's so expressive. So I thought, I will take this character and try and create a story out of it. So yeah, so let's come back to our storytelling drawing. So first thing is to stage your character. How do you do that? Okay, so this is my canvas, and these are the general video settings that you have, and I have already created two drawings, so I will just quickly select both of them. And I initially, whenever I'm planning a shot, I try to draw thumbnails, so that is why you see the drawings a bit scaled down, but I can scale it up right now. So when you're staging the character, you have to make sure that your character is correctly posed, placed in the canvas. Otherwise, as you are animating and you figure out the certain actions are going out of the frame, so that doesn't make any sense. It's very difficult to rectify later on. Okay, so let's get back to this. So let's take one more layer and try and create a stage first. So I'm going to take a fairly odd color, so that you know we differentiate our performance from the staging. So this is the table. So I'm going to draw a straight line here. Okay, this color is not standing out, so maybe, yeah, maybe this color. Yeah, and this is the small bar stool that our character can sit on. Yeah, and this is fairly the ground line. So you really have to understand where in the physical perspective is your character stage. So maybe this is the horizon line, you know, and this is happening slightly above eye level. So that creates good interest, you know. So yeah, this is fairly our staging. So let's lock this layer and let's get onto this layer. Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and redraw these characters on a fresh layer, and then we can get on to the actual acting. Hmm. So let me take a dark gray shade and let me quickly redraw this character. So you have a nice little head, fairly circular. When you are animating, you have to make sure that it's not necessary you have clean lines when you're doing your assignments, but it's important to have mm, a proper volume. Your volume cannot fluctuate too much. Yeah, so that is why I focus more on getting the storytelling drawings right. So here I'm again going to try and get the volume as right as possible, because this is the volume in the first drawing that you will have to carry forward to all your throughout your performance. Yeah. Then you have the torso. I want to keep it slightly bent, like slouched, because whenever you are uh, in a place where you want to chill out, you are not in a erect or a alert position. You are mostly relaxed and you're slightly slouched. So that is the reason why you can slouch this character a little bit. Again, let's sorry, excuse me. Again, let's not get into too many details of the fingers. So I will just add a volume to this, and again the feet is relaxed on the ground, and you have the other feet that is on that level, that plane, and it's slightly pointing outwards in the other direction. Now, the most important thing is the prop, the glass. So I'm generally you have a jar, a beer jar where you're holding it with a very big handle, but for this purpose, I think you know I I should keep a fairly simple, straight, thick. So here now we have roughly put down this action, and we are going to see how it plays in this stage. There is still a lot to do to smooth out the action, but let's see if we get the storytelling right. So I'm going to just play this for you. I'm just going to try and play this full screen, and let's see how it looks. So this would go toop 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 toop, dum doof. Yeah. So what we can do is a couple of things that are important. We have got the joke right, but here, when you see this, I need to create a more I need to add more hold on this position. I feel still we can add more hold to these drawings, and then go and then go bam. So in between here, I need to take this hand, I need to settle this hand little bit down and turn this head slightly to maybe slightly towards this, and then go with the stretch drawing. Yeah. So a couple of drawings in between will really really do some magic. And over here, from this to this is like a switch turning off. So you one moment you are happy, and the other moment you're just like, you kind of switch off. You kind of turn yourself off into a different zone. So here, as soon as the hand goes down, it's probably going to dangle a little bit, you know and then from here to here, I'm going to probably take this body a little bit back and then ahead, and then bam. Okay, and as soon as it goes bam, I can still show the other hand dangling down. Yeah. And then we can probably refill the glass. Maybe a hand comes and refills the glass. with another glass of beer, and then again we can loop this to this position, so we can have a nice story going on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add few in betweens, and then we will do the fine tuning together. So see you in the next video. Thank you. So yeah, like I was saying, the story of this guy is he's having a chilled beer, uh, and then he dozes off. So these are the two storytelling drawings that we created, and so in between is the drama that we have to create. So let me first tell you that when you're starting something, when you're starting to animate some shot, you have to kind of try and plan out the at least the basic act. So yeah, like I was saying, the story of this guy is he's having a chilled beer, uh, and then he dozes off. So these are the two storytelling. So welcome back, and it has been couple of hours uh, after a break, and uh, I am continuing with the action that we started with. And like I said in the previous video, that I am trying to space it out, and I'm going to add some timing to it, uh, and see where I can add more acting. So here I have roughly timed it out. I've still kept the the uh, the drawings as it is. I haven't added any new drawings, and so this is how it looks. I have roughly timed out the acting. So I will try to make some give some sound with it so that we get an idea. So basically it goes tup, 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 and then dad, he goes down. So it's a pretty fast action, around about 120 frames. So around about 5 seconds of action. So after this, what we are going to do is we're going to go. So I like the acting bit of the character. Now we have to see where we can actually add more fun in the animation. So for example, let's start from here to here, and then here to here, and then till here. So this is the action, and as he's done with his action, then there is a reaction, and then the solution. Yeah, so that's our story. So like you see, we have almost 10 frames over here. I'm going to go and give a pause of 15 frames over here, and from here I'm going to add few details. So right now I'm spacing out the frames, and I might uh, keep a hold of 3 4 frames, for each drawing, and then try and get more smoothing drawings in between. Yeah, so let's go to frame number 15. Let's add a blank frame. So this is where I want the character to start moving. So I will check my previous frame and a frame here. Okay, yeah. So, and now because because of the background, we are not I'm not able to see the previous frames. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually try and change the color of the staging a little bit and see if I can find a right tone where I can get the in-betweens, or else I'm just going to keep this white and I'm going to actually go ahead, select all layers, select all frames, and I'm going to give them black color. Yeah, so it's much more easier for me to identify the frames. So here you go. Yeah. Somehow let's take a run here and see. Yeah. Okay. So from here to here, there is a very subtle movement happening in the body. The head is going back, the hand is shifting towards the mouth. So I'm going to probably take this drawing, copy paste this, and I'm going to erase few areas. So there is going to be a movement of, basically the arm is going to move, this arm is going to cover maximum distance. So I'm going to like drag this hand till here. Yeah. The shapes of my anatomy are fairly simple, so I might go a little bit off in the proportions, but still, that's not important here right now. The important thing is to get the acting part right, to basically to get the timing and the spacing of the frames. Yeah. And I'm going to just change this into a blink. Yeah. So maybe a drawing between here, and find a drawing. So here the head kind of moves slightly behind, so I'm going to just go and put the in-betweens. The mouth probably opens little bit. Yeah. Again the hand is holding the beer with all this kind of thing. Yeah. and and it's almost to the edge of the table and slightly tilted. The rest of the body again is moving very subtly. I could have just kept the drawings as it is, but let's go and draw one more drawing in between. This process of adding the in-betweens is kind of, people find it very tedious, but I feel these this particular section of animation is actually where you start up pulling up all the animation together. So this is very important stage of your animation. So I'm going to hold the blink for another frame, for this frame, and like you see, the level of the liquid is again perpendicular, parallel to the ground. And I feel the mouth is open, mouth has opened a little bit. It's open too much, so I can do this, and here I can actually reduce the smile. Yeah, pretty good. So from here, move here, and then from here to here, we have to figure out where exactly we can put the frame. So I think we'll go right in the middle. Yeah, we'll go right in the middle and just get a just draw a quick in between. Again, like we had taken the same drawing and tilted the head, so I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to draw it again. So at the back of your mind, you are kind of you're kind of planning this whole thing. You should be planning this whole thing uh, at the back of your mind, and try and see where you have to, because a subtle difference in the placement can really, can really change the mood of your animation, change the mood of your story. So you really have to keep your focus on and see where exactly you can, place your drawing. This is where, when you see a lot of 3D animators, because they are not taking that effort to draw and get into the head of that character, and because they have a ready-made uh, model in front of them, they don't get so much into the character. Although you might see a smoothness in the animation, but most of the time you see a lot of floating animation happening with the 3D animators nowadays. So this is the reason, because you you you're not getting into the character. You're not trying to get into the head of the character. And when you're drawing, especially, you are bound to think, because you are responsible for each and every line of the drawing. So so that is why even today, when you see any 2D animation, you can feel more soul into the characters. I mean, that's what I feel. That's what my personal uh, feeling is. I might be wrong, but that's how I feel. See, yeah. So we're kind of getting into a nice smoother zone. Now I see, these subtle things there. the level of the beer is suddenly going down. It's supposed to be same. So from here to here, it's a pretty long jump. So again, we're going to go exactly somewhere in between. We can anytime shift the frames to get more ease into the certain uh, poses. But yeah, so for example, this is an extreme pose, extreme this thing. So we have to find out where the arc is, So you see the the bottle curving into this frame. So if you kind of start dissecting the character, you you start finding the you start finding the lines automatically. Your in your subconscious, your brain starts telling you where exactly you can put the drawing, and most of the time you get it right. So for in this instance, because the mouth is attached in this moment to the glass, so I know that I have to draw these this section with my head and the glass together. Yeah, and then I can actually start closing the eye. Yeah, and then I'll just take this drawing, and I'll just tilt it and try to find the exact position of. So in this section, I'm going to favor the next drawing. So my head is going to move towards favoring towards the last position. So you can see the glass in this frame is more closer to the last frame, you know. And then of course I'll go and maybe do another in between over here. But as of now, this is what I feel is right in this key, you know. And here the beer is almost poured into his mouth, and of course the rest of the body, since there's not much movement happening there, it's much more easier to get into the closer drawings. And a lot of animators, when they are doing in betweens, even today, a lot of 2D animators whom I know, they kind of enjoy this process more, the in betweening process. They can, because it's not too much of thinking, uh, but it's more of connecting drawings. So your these drawings are actually connecting your motion together. So a lot of animators, they tend to put on some music and try and enjoy this entire uh, scene. But I generally don't like to listen to music much while I'm working. See, we have got a nice action going on here. So I'm just going to pull the range a little bit. I'm going to loop this. Yeah, pretty good. So what with this drawing? Should we stretch it a little bit more and kind of get another closer drawing over here? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try a trick over here with this tool, which actually helps you. uh, which might help us get a very close drawing. Not necessarily it will work, but I'm just going to give it a try. So this is like a subtle tilt that I'm trying to do, a very close drawing. See, you see a slight push here. Now I'm going to go ahead and try and close this eye. Yeah, so I'm going to go add another layer, another frame, and I'll try to twist this further a little bit. Yeah. And then go so a frame over here, maybe here, and so this drawing will be favoring the last pose. So what I can do is I can actually take this and tilt it a little bit. So see what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to connect these drawings and try to find the right arcs. You know, everything moves in an arc. So if I have a hand that is coming up and down, so this is my pivot, and from this pivot I will be moving. If I'm moving something from my elbow, this is going to be my pivot, and this is going to move like this. Same goes with the wrist and the finger. So everything has an arc going on. So that's what I'm trying to find over here. You know. And this drawing, I'm just going to trace out this. And I'm going to reduce the smile a little bit, like a closed mouth, trying to keep the teeth same, and even the eyes and the eyebrows almost in the same position. Yeah, and then I'm going to take this head and try and bring it here, somewhere here. So there is an arc happening here too. Yeah, and what about the body? The same thing. So then it's all about like connecting the dots. So I'm trying to look for the lines in between, so there's not much to talk about the in between part. It's more of a second nature it's like solving a puzzle, and all this effort really feels satisfying when you watch the entire thing, your drawings in motion. Suddenly you feel you have added so much of life into a character by just putting your efforts in drawing. Yeah. So ah, ah, you know so this feels pretty good. So you see what's happening here. There's a slight blink and then you go ah, and then bam. So what we can do is we can actually stretch. We can kind of stretch this position a little bit more, and we can do it in between here too. You know, it's a little time consuming process, but it is really worth it. So to all the viewers who are probably getting bored with this in betweening stuff, I would request them to just be patient and just try and observe. You know, it doesn't take much to just sit and observe, because the more you observe, the more you will learn. Yeah. A lot of youngsters nowadays, I feel they have a lot of enthusiasm, learning new things. But the only thing that I feel is lacking in most of them is patience. You know, you have to have patience. You have to uh, build that quality in you to just sit and, you know, sit through this entire thing. Just finish the damn thing, you know, with your entire focus. And that's where I feel, you know, that's what I actually like more about the senior generation who has been working in this field, or who has worked in this field and now maybe retired. So I am sometimes so amazed to see the work of old masters like Glenn Keane, who's still, by the way, one of the best animators alive, and so many others, you know, James Baxter, amazing animator, uh, and you can Google them and find more about them. And of course, there is Aaron Blaze. He has a very beautiful YouTube channel, and I have learned a lot from his videos. Very inspiring videos, and I wish maybe one day I could draw like him and, animate like him. So I am so amazed to see these seniors who have so much of patience. See, yeah, tup 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 tup, ah, and then go bam, bam. So a close drawing over here. Maybe I'll put it on force right now. The important thing is not to forget to save. Always save your work. So over here, we can again get back to the very basic, like, you know if you have less uh, frames and you have maximum distance to cover in your drawing, in your animation, all you do is just add a stretch frame. So I'm gonna do like a favoring frame to this frame, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to cheat with this. I'm going to twist. I'm going to stretch the glass, which is which is physically impossible to stretch a glass. But in animation, anything is possible. And I'm going to add like a lot of thumbs and fingers. Yeah, and I'm going to contact this. I'm going to put that contact. I'm going to be very brave with this drawing, and I'm also going to add this. See what I'm doing. And this again, it's all experiment. I have no clue how it is going to look in the frame, but I am hoping positively that this is going to work. And also I'm going to make this hand broad, so I'm going to erase this. I'm going to make it very thick. I'm going to break the anatomy to make my action look smooth. Yeah, so with this section, with the hand, I'm probably going to do a bang, but with the head, I might just, you know, I might just do a very simple in between, you know. So, so I will not do any stretch and squash in the head. I will just trace over this head like this, and I'm just going to reposition it slightly differently. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to go here. So all I'm trying to do is just get into the arc. Yeah, get my arc right. So yeah, favoring this drawing. But maybe over here also I might just go a little overboard to add a little stretch like that. Yeah, and the mouth is like an in between of both expressions, the previous and the after. Yeah? So something like this. Bam. You know. Yeah, pretty good. I feel we are on the right track. Everything is right if it feels right, you know. So I feel pretty good about this, and I hope it will end up nicely. When you are in production, there are certain do's and don'ts that are designed for the character. For example, how extreme the smile can be in a certain character, or how much can you actually stretch and cheat with the character, like these kind of stretch drawings. So whenever you are in production, you will have to study what are the do's and don'ts of the characters. For here, I think I feel pretty good. Like you see the expression, you see a slight stretch in the eye, like in this frame, but I really like it. It feels, you can feel that toink, you know. And over here, I'm going to do one simple thing. Is when the glass lands, I am going to add a bam, like a boom. like so I'm going to go little up and little down. So I'm going to copy paste this frame, and I'm going to give an in between, which is again the same drawing, but I'm just selecting a section of it. Okay, maybe only this much, and I'm just going to tilt it a little bit, stretch it a little bit to give that bam, you know. So let's do a selection and see how it looks. Let's just play back this much. So this is not running real time right now, but I'm sure you can feel the bang. What I'm going to do is I'm going to again do this drawing. I'm again going to copy paste this, but this time I'm going to do it from the shoulder. Yeah. So you feel this slight bump. Yeah, bump. That looks good. And then from here to here, there's another thing. Yeah. So I'm going to take a small pause here, and I'm going to get back to you. So here I am with the final product. I almost finished the animation. There are a few more things that can be added and removed, to make it more perfect. But I think this is good enough to explain how you can take a couple of drawings and turn it into a smooth animation and tell a story. So this is what you see right now. I'm going to just play back once again. So I went ahead and I filled the color, and I kind of composed it in a frame, added a little background to it for suggestion. And so let's see what it is. So a little bit of sound effects and some background score will really add more life to this character. And I hope I will be posting this with the sound design and a little bit of compositing in couple of hours. So I hope you enjoyed the demonstration, and I hope I was able to uh, impart some knowledge, and that can help you do your own animation. So let me just revise the whole thing and show it to you. So we started with the single frame, then we moved on to a couple of drawings that actually tell the story. So the guy is picking up the uh, glass, and he is so this is the actual storytelling drawing, and from here, bam, and then a little psych just to add a little humor to the story, and bam. Okay, so that's about it, guys. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this demonstration, and hope to come up with few more interesting demonstrations of animation. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. So here now we have roughly put